Welcome to the Innovation Squadcast. If you are looking for a podcast about instructional strategies enhanced by technology, you came to the right place. In our conversations, we will talk with tech experts, share ideas and strategies to help you build your toolbox with tools that you can use in your class immediately.
Welcome to Innovation Squadcast. Thanks for making us part of your educational PD journey. First-time listeners, welcome. And for our returning listeners, welcome back. We are glad you're here because today we are discussing Chromebook accessibility tools for all learners. Chromebook accessibility features are available so everyone has an equal opportunity to excel in the digital age. Even if they were created to support people with special needs, everyone can benefit. In this episode, we will guide you through Chromebook accessibility tools that can benefit all learners regardless of their abilities or challenges. Before we get started, let's pause for this week's tech tip.
Hello, in this quick tip tutorial, I'm going to show you how to apply a filter to a spreadsheet for easy sorting. And I'm also going to show you how to freeze the top row and the left column so that when you scroll up and down and left and right, you still know what it is you're looking at. So we're going to start first with the freezing of the columns and rows. I'm going to go to the View menu and I'm going to go to Freeze. And then I'm going to go to one row because I just want this header row to be frozen. So now when I scroll all the way down to line 86 and 90, I still know what I'm looking at the top of my spreadsheet. And then I'm also going to freeze two columns because the first column is the teacher and the second column is the student. And these names have all been changed for privacy reasons. So I'm going to go back up to View again, and I'm going to go to Freeze, and I'm going to go to two columns. Now, the best thing about this in Google Sheets is that Excel cannot do this. Excel can only do either a column or a row, and with Google Sheets, you can do both. So I can scroll all the way over to Lexile and still know who it is I'm looking at, okay? Now, the last thing I'm going to show you is how to apply a filter. So right now, we have these frozen at the top, and it looks like there's a filter, but there isn't. You'll know it's a filter because right here, you'll see what looks like a funnel. And so I'm going to click up here for the Select All button. And then I'm going to go over here to this funnel. And when you hover, it says Create a Filter. When I click on that, now you can see these little funnels here at the top. And when you click on any of them, you get the options to sort A to Z or Z to A. You can also filter by condition, and you can see all the different types of entries that are in that column.
Hope everybody enjoyed that tech tip. I am Jimmy Kate.
I'm Pam Hubler.
And we are talking Chromebook accessibility tools, which is really, I think, underutilized feature. We're one-to-one here in our district with Chromebook, and there are a lot of different, accessibility tools that people have access to. They just may not, kind of know about. And so excited that you could kind of be here today. And definitely you're the expert in walking us through different elements when it comes to Chromebook accessibility tools. And kind of where do you want to start? And what do you think is one of the important tools that people can understand when it comes to Chromebook accessibility?
Yeah, I think when we talk about our Chromebooks, it's really nice to have all the features. And, Apple has some really good accessibility features. And then thankfully, Google has stepped on board to do the same thing. And we have access to so many things on our Chromebooks that the students have access to, that even though they don't have disabilities or they may not have any issues, sometimes it just makes it easier. So it's really just to make the whole experience better, having our Chromebooks.
Yes.
So, and I think a lot of people, when they get a Chromebook, first, I did a podcast with Casey Bell from Shake Up Learning. We have that linked in the show notes.
Yes.
And she was talking about how she does not love Chromebooks because she's an Apple user.
Yeah.
She just doesn't love them. And when you open a Chromebook, you're not sure where your things are because it's not like there's a lot on it. It's really just to be able to use Chrome to be able to access all your information and get to the different sites.
Right.
So one of the things I think, understanding that Chromebook shelf, which is that along the bottom of your Chromebook, that's probably the biggest thing, because when you get a Chromebook, having it set up then so that way you know where everything is, that along that bottom
Right.
toolbar is really the biggest
I
thing
gotcha.
once you get to understand what's down there, how to use it.
Yeah, because down on that shelf, you can, attach different tasks and apps and, whatever you got on your Chromebook as well. And then I noticed on the right-hand side, there's that big old kind of window that pops up that
Right.
you can, what when they hit that, where can they then access some of those accessibility features?
Yeah, so since there's nothing like installed on your Chromebook really,
Right.
you have to click on the bottom right-hand corner where the clock is.
Okay.
And that will pop up that window where you can see your Wi-Fi connected, you will see Bluetooth connected, you'll see where you can restart it, what account is signed in, you can see your volume, you can see your speakers, brightness, you can see all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that you may not see is the accessibility tools, unless you're using one of the accessibility tools, or if you turn it on to always be there.
Right.
That's one thing that usually as soon as I get into somebody's Chromebook, like, hey, let's click on this, go to the settings. And the settings, that's that gear at the top right-hand side of that pop-up.
Yep.
That goes to, it's almost like the My Computer of the Chromebook.
Okay.
So when you click on that, that's where you can see all sorts of information. But on the left, there is an option for accessibility, or just like when you're searching Google Drive, if you just click in the search bar at the top, you just type in accessibility and you'll be able to get to the information that you really need.
And that'll open up that accessibility button. When they open up that accessibility button, what kind of features can they find inside of that can benefit everybody?
There is an option, scroll down a little bit. When you get to the accessibility features, there's a little toggle where you can toggle it on to always be there. So that way, that little button for accessibility is there, because once you click on accessibility, you can see anything that's selected.
Gotcha.
Some kids turn it on by accident.
Yeah.
And so they might have their screen all zoomed in and the teacher's like, I have no idea what's happening.
I gotcha.
It's because they have accessibility tools turned on and they don't even know.
Right.
So I think one of the biggest things, if a teacher reaches out for accessibility tools, it usually has to do with text to speech.
Right.
And one of the Chrome extensions that I really like is Natural Reader. Because it doesn't, how sometimes they sound really robotic.
Yes.
And they're not.
Yeah, the Vox
enjoyable.
one is very robotic.
Yes. Chromevox is very, and we've talked about that in other podcasts before. Not a lot of people like to use it, but it is built into the Chromebook.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you really need to, it works.
Yep.
And then the Select to Speak is another thing that's built into the Chrome accessibility tools. And that's where you can actually select part of your screen and it will read it. So if you right click with it, which is two finger click on a Chromebook, you can choose Select to Speak, and that's where you can change the language. You can do a lot of different things in there.
That's really nice. Yeah. And then it's nice that there's actually extra extensions too that you can kind of look for. Go to your Chrome web store, search Natural Reader. We'll have a link in the show notes as well, so they can add that to their Chrome extension.
We might have to have a podcast just on extensions.
Yeah. Extensions, there's a lot that a lot out there that, maybe underutilized, but I found that, Google Keep has an extension now that's really nice. You click that and there's lots of different things you can do in that. So that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Noted.
Look out for future extensions. What other kind of, so we got, text to speech options. How about like display options? What you talked about, zooming in, what else can they do with that?
Yeah, display options, they have the high contrast mode.
Okay.
For me, it's annoying because I don't have any vision issues, but if you do have vision issues, sometimes that high contrast mode is actually really nice. And it's one of those things that there's a Chromebook simulator, and we have it linked in the show notes. If you click on that, it is a lot easier to see what all the things that the Chromebook can do, because if you're not on a Chromebook, you can't really test it out.
Right.
So, and whenever I do this presentation in person, I usually have a Chromebook plugged in so that way I can actually present from the Chromebook so you can see what I'm talking about. So sorry if you're listening and you really have no idea what I'm talking about. Just either watch the video or look at the show notes and try out that simulator.
Or reach out to your ILCs and we'll be happy to get you in touch with Pam so she can come and teach it to you. We can help you and get you in the right direction there. So, what else did you see that that people need to know that?
Window docking is kind of nice because that's kind of like that split screen, and there are extensions where you can use that. But window docking, it's actually just a keyboard shortcut, and I think it's a control and then those little curly or square brackets. So that way it'll pop one screen over to the side, to the left side, and then you could do to the right side. So depending on which ones you use will go to either the left or the right. And again, this is hard to explain without like actually trying it.
Yeah.
But that's nice, especially if you have a Chromebook and let's say you have a Schoology assignment and then you're working in something else, so you want them side by side.
Right.
Even though it's a small screen, it is still nice to be able to see side by side without clicking between the two tabs.
Which is another extension we can talk about. So we'll have to remember that as well. Or two screens are huge. Yeah, it's definitely a game changer. What about with keyboard options? What kind of shortcuts do they have there?
They have sticky keys is one of those that if you have a hard time, especially if you have littles and a kid can't like hold the control button and hold the shift button and then click on another letter.
Okay, yeah.
If you turn on sticky keys, it makes it where if you click control, it'll stay clicked.
Oh, wow.
And then if you click shift, it'll stay clicked. So you can choose up to like 3 different ones.
Okay.
So that's nice if you have a hard time, or even if you're a one-handed, like if you're only using one hand.
Right.
Some people have to have that. So then you can just click those keys and it'll stay clicked.
Nice.
So that is nice. And then the other keyboard options, I know they have one that they have the on screen.
Okay. So
if you can't use your touchpad and things like that and you want to just touch on the screen, they have that on screen keyboard. And they even have a draw option.
Okay.
So you can use your finger and actually write on the screen because our Chromebooks are touch screen. So they can actually use their finger and write, and it will start to populate words. So there's a lot of different options for the actual keyboards.
Yeah. And you mentioned the touchpad. Is there any kind of accessibility with the touchpad?
You can adjust, and it's just in your settings. You can adjust the sensitivity of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is one of the options. Yes.
Are there any other kind of voice typing, captions, kind of text issues that that can really help out?
Voice typing, this is one of those things that I think some people feel is cheating, where if you're in Google Docs, that's one of my favorites. It has a little, I think it's under accessibility, and then you could do the microphone.
Gotcha.
And you could do voice to text.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful, especially, I mean, I've used it before where I'm just trying to get thoughts out on paper.
Yeah.
Even it's not
I don't use
paper.
that. I don't use that feature enough in my everyday life. The idea of just, talking through something to see the text and then probably being able to utilize that. Yeah, it's something maybe I need to.
Yeah, because I mean, usually we can talk a lot faster than we can type.
Right.
And then you reread things. So if you're just saying it and use the audio or use the voice typing.
And Google has that in a couple different places, right?
Yeah, they have it in Google Docs. They also have it in Google Slides. In Google Slides, it goes to the show notes on the bottom, which is fine because then I know I've seen students use that where they want to talk about different things that they're presenting on, and then they just put the information, they do voice to text in the screen notes, and then they know what they're actually going to talk about, or they can look for images later on and all that stuff to add to it. And then Google Keep, even though the students don't have access to it right now, that is one of those features that you can do voice typing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're using the app on your phone, it'll record what you're saying and it will put the text out.
Oh, wow.
So that's another thing you might have to try.
Yeah, that's huge. I love my Google Keep. So that's a good one. So,
yep.
And then,
captions.
Yeah, the captions, the alternates, and text and presentations. You were talking to me about that, so definitely explain kind of how you can use that.
Yeah, captions, that's one of those. There's a couple different options. You can turn on live captions. So I noticed I turned that on in Chrome when I was doing this presentation.
Yeah.
And the next time I got on a Google Meet, it started typing out what people were saying. So you can do like anything web based.
Okay.
So if you set that in Chrome, it'll work on everything. And then of course there's always, the YouTube where if you turn on the closed captions.
Right.
But one of the things I didn't realize if you have to use a screen reader and because you're visually impaired or whatever, when you're doing a presentation, you can right click on an image and it'll ask for alternate text.
Okay.
And the reason you do that is so if you have a screen reader, when it gets to an image, it will tell you what that is an image of.
Interesting.
And that's one of those things that I think the more we try to add that, the better it is for everyone that has access. And then, or if you're just listening to it, I mean, I've done that before where you might be multitasking and trying to listen to one thing and doing something else.
Right.
It can be, okay, this is a picture of, whatever that graph might
Very
be.
Cool. Very cool. Yep. And then another place that there's some accessibilities that some people may not realize, and that's inside of Schoology.
Yes.
It's in the immersive reader. And what's great is it's built into Schoology. And so talk about how, teachers can use that immersive reader and how, parents and students can use that immersive reader to kind of, get all the benefits out of Schoology they can.
Yeah, when you're using Immersive Reader, that is something that's built in, and it has where you can change the speed of when it reads it out loud to you.
Right.
You can change the language.
Yep.
Yeah, you can change a lot of things right there within Immersive Reader. It can be word by word, it can be paragraph, and it's just another. Sometimes you process things better when you're listening to it.
Right.
So even if it isn't like an accommodation or anything like that, it's still something that can be helpful.
And that's only in the description window, right?
Yep.
That you can be found in assignments and pages.
Yep.
Updates. It has it there. So there's lots of different places that you can put as much description as you can into that, and then to utilize that Immersive Reader function.
Right. And I think the updates part in Schoology, since that's one of those where we might have those headers, like our clickable banners, like we've talked about. If you add any text in there, it will read that text out loud.
Okay.
And it could be that language, or it can just be in English, or whatever you need. But I think the messages is probably, I think, my favorite, because I didn't realize it was in each line of the message. So if I need to send a message to a parent or a student within Schoology, I can just click on that little message icon, and then I say it in English, or I type it in English.
Okay.
But when that student or parent gets that message, all they have to do is click on that little, looks like an open notebook.
Notebook, yeah.
If they click on that, they can change the language from there, because it opens an Immersive Reader.
I got you.
So then you can go back and forth with those conversations. And I know we have other tools that are meant for that, for translation. But it is a nice place to have it like built into the messaging between teachers and students and parents. So that's probably my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are lots of different options when it comes to accessibility. Definitely check out the show notes. We've got, like Pam was talking about, we got some resources in there. There's other podcasts. There's, links that'll take you to the Chromebook simulator and Google Help to help kind of go through some of these different accessibility tools. And then again, reach out to your innovative learning coordinators, and we'll be more than happy to help you and walk you through some of these different accessibility features that, anybody can, take access to, but especially any of our students that have any disabilities, that, just make sure that they're getting all of the, what they need from a Chromebook, and maximizing the use of that Chromebook, because, they were kind of picked because of the amount of accessibility features that were out there as well. So check out the notes for your resources. Check out the notes if you want to watch the video of this podcast. Also, if you want to check out the tech tip video, make sure you check that out as well. And then we also have the Unified Squadcast PD in there as well. There's a link. They'll take you right to Unified Talent. Once you sign up for that, every 2 episodes, fill out the Google form, tell us all about it, and then you'll get 1 hour of renewal credit. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you get it, so you get new notifications of our new episodes. And we want to hear from you. Okay, we want podcast topics. We want to, talk about and discuss things, anything ed tech that you want us to talk about. And then if you want to be on the podcast, you got something to share, you got something you're excited, you're passionate about, that would benefit the teachers and students, reach out to us. We'll get you on the podcast. We'll even come to you if you need us to, and get that done. So I really appreciate you being here, showing your expertise in Chromebook accessibilities. I definitely learned a lot today, and I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for listening. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.